Hello everyone, Mitch Albers here, instructor for the Biology 1 course. In this screencast, what I'm going to do is take you for a tour through the D2L website. What you're going to find here is where I'm going to be posting all the course information, and that will be taking place here in the announcements area. So plan on, I'll be posting weekly announcements on Sundays, either Sunday morning or Sunday evening prior to the start of the week, and I'll have all the information on what's going on for the upcoming week, what's due, what are the deadlines, just things to make sure you're aware of, what things that are going on lecture and lab wise. And speaking of lab, I want you also to be aware that you have a D2L webpage for both the lecture and the lab. So when you go to your course listing, you should see lecture and lab, and we will also be using the lab D2L webpage to keep announcements, postings for specific things to the lab only in the announcements area, and also maintaining a separate lab gradebook in D2L. So just so you're aware of that. But for lecture here, all the announcements will be posted here on the home page, or what we call the announcements area. And one thing that you need to do, and this announcement will always be the first one, is every time you log in, make sure you scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. And you're not going to be able to see this link in this view, but there's going to be a link that says show all announcements. And when you click that link, that will make sure that all the announcements that have been posted will pop up. And when you scroll down, you can see all the announcements. And so that you're not missing out on any specific information. So make sure you do that each time you log in. Okay, so as I mentioned, all the course information will be posted here. The two areas that we're going to primarily use in the course website is going to be the assessment area. And that's where where we have quizzes and tests and that sort of thing. And then in the materials content area, that's where I've got all of my lecture and exam resources to help you in studying biology this semester. Okay, so that's kind of what I'd like to demonstrate here. What's in that content area, because you really need to spend some time here at the beginning of the semester exploring this area and investigating what's all here, so that you're aware of it, the different resources that are here, and then you can kind of pick and choose which ones you'd like to work with this semester. So as mentioned in some of my announcements in D2L, both your textbook and your mastering homework are now integrated into D2L, and so the way that you're going to access the e-text and your mastering homework will be by logging into D2L, going to the materials content area, and then following the prompts here. For mastering biology, you'll click on the link here, and that will take you to your after you activate your mastering biology account that's linked to this course, then you'll access your mastering homework that way, and also the e-text, and that's going to be under something called Red Shelf eBooks. And when it comes to the textbook, there's two different ways that you can access your textbook. One is through Red Shelf eBooks, and the other is through Mastering Biology. So when you log into Mastering Biology, you will also have access to the e-text there as well. Okay, so but one of the first things you'll need to do here this first week is to activate your Mastering Biology account, and I have a separate step-by-step tutorial posted in the announcements area of D2L that walks you through the steps on how to do that. There's also a YouTube video you can watch that shows you the steps. Very simple process, but you need to follow those steps to make sure it's done correctly. And then also getting access to your e-text as well through Red Shelf eBooks. Okay, So what are some of the other things here? Well, I've got a number of resources here to help you with lectures and preparing for exams. Okay, one of the areas that you might want to check out right away is this area called Strategies for Success in Biology. And what I've posted here is a number of videos that will help you if you need help in just kind of knowing what is it going to take to be a successful biology student. And certainly if you are a very good student and you've had lots of good academic success in your other classes, I want you to continue doing those kinds of things because those are going to help you learn biology as well. But if you're not that great of an academic student and your success has been a little iffy, you will want to check some of these areas that will, help you to, how to study for this class, how to manage your time, how to, how to get that grit that it takes to be a successful student. Sometimes you're going to have letdowns, and you can't let those letdowns get in the way. You need to persevere and continue, and so there are all kinds of strategies posted here that will help you to be a better student. And so you'll want to take advantage and investigate some of those strategies that will make you a more successful student. Okay, for lecture, one of the probably the most highly used traffic areas of the content area here are my detailed lecture notes. So if you click on these are posted by chapter, and they are very detailed outlines. What I did is I went through each chapter of the 11th edition of Campbell's Biology and fleshed out all the details and put them into very organized outlines with bullet points, and organize the content that way. And for students who are very linear learners, and what I mean by linear learners is these are students who, like in class when they take notes, they put all their notes into outline form and study those kinds of things, and if that's an effective strategy for them to learning the content, because the information in biology isn't necessarily linear. We organize it that way, but it's a lot more abstract when you really gets down to how you learn what biology really is. It's a very abstract area of study, and but some people have to organize it in a linear fashion to make some sense out of it, and so that we call them linear learners. And certainly the linear learners are going to love my detailed lecture notes. So a lot of students who are in my face-to-face on-campus classes print them out, bring them to class, and then they follow along with my lectures. And I don't necessarily use these in class as a presentation tool, but the content's the same. I'm going through the same things that these detailed lecture notes. I'm there in lecture to explain what's in your textbook, and they're all the same concepts. And so students bring those along, they annotate them, make sketches, and just follow along what kind of things that I highlight and emphasize in class, so they know what to study and prepare for the exams. So those are my detailed lecture notes. If we just click on one here, let's say chapter 2, they're normally PDFs, and again you can see so things within the textbook, area chapter 2.1, where they talk about matter, that lines up exactly where it is in your textbook. So again, these are just outline forms, all bullet points. I don't have any images or anything like that. That's what the textbook is for. So this is just a way of just pulling the content out of the book and put it into an outline form. And again, students have found these very, very helpful, and you'll want to make sure you check them out. Those are my detailed lecture notes. DLNs is what I call them. Okay, another as far as lecture resources. So when I teach this class on campus and online, and for you online students, if you want to see the presentations that I use in class, they're going to be my prezzies. Okay, now I have PowerPoint slides for each chapter, and I don't use PowerPoint per se when I'm in class with my on-campus students. But I did put PowerPoint presentations for each chapter together and made them available. Some students really like PowerPoints. They like to print them out. They like to use them to study, and you certainly have access to them. And it's the same. A lot of the same content is in these PowerPoint slides is what's in my detailed lecture notes. The detailed lecture notes are just going to they're going to be a lot more wordy. The PowerPoints are going to be more bullet point kinds of things, and a little cleaner. But but they also will have visuals that go along with it, those bullet points on the various concepts that we talk about. So those are available, but my Prezis, and I've got 2 generations of Prezis. And Prezi is a presentation tool that it's an online presentation tool. And so I've created all my lectures through Prezi. And the first generation Prezis are kind of, Prezi's kind of like a concept map on steroids, if you will. It's just a great way to present lots of abstract concepts and put it into a presentation form, and it's kind of a way of telling a story. And in each chapter, when I do my lectures, I'm really kind of telling the story of the chapter, and Prezi lends well to adding all kinds of media that you can put into your presentation, and it's nice because it's available to anywhere because it's online. So you'll want to check out my Prezis. And again, there are 2 different generations. The second generation are more updated ones that I've created more recently. Okay, and their organization is different than my first generation. The first generation is more linear, and the second generation are more organized in a abstract but conceptual way. And you just have to take a look at those. And I don't have time to walk you through Prezis. I want you to get in there and investigate those. Those are what I use in class. And some lectures I use the first generation Prezis, some I use the second generation Prezis. I kind of jump around between those. I have all the images of the textbook. So if you ever want to get an image out of the book, then use it in some way. Those are available. And then I mentioned in the syllabus screencast, the Think Well video lectures are very helpful, and so if you want more information about Think Well and some example videos that you can see what it's all about, you can go in there. And then what I've got posted are a number of videos, YouTube videos from various content creators across the web who have done lecture presentations on very specific concepts. And so Crash Course Biology, Bozeman Biology, Professor Dave Explains, the Amoeba Sisters, Khan Academy, the Penguin Prof, Clearly Stated, and Brightstorm Biology are all content creators, biologists who have created all kinds of lectures, online lectures, and put them into YouTube videos, and they've done a very good job. So these are ones I've reviewed and I found to be very helpful, and so I've integrated those into D2L, and I can kind of just go here to Professor Dave Explains, and so I've listed all his videos by chapter, and some maybe there's only one video, and others there might be multiple videos for a single chapter. You can see here there's a whole bunch of videos just on chapter 2, some basic chemistry stuff for his work. But you'll see that each area I've got different number of videos. The Bozeman Biology, there's 75 YouTube videos that he's created. Professor Dave, 50 videos. So lots of different videos. So if the Think Well videos is something that you're not sure you're going to make the investment in, you'll definitely want to take advantage of these videos. I also will have a number of screencasts and videos posted on various chapters for lecture, but in some ways somebody's already created those things and have done a really good job, so I supplement these other ones in there as well. So those are some really good lecture resources that I've made available for students. And right off the bat here, sometimes students feel a little overwhelmed. I don't want this to be overwhelming. What I want you to understand is that I've been teaching this class a long time, and I've created a lot of learning resources, and I've kind of tailored a lot of these learning resources to target different, everybody learns a little bit differently. So these learning resources really target the different learning styles that students have. Like I talked about, linear learners, there's visual learners, there's auditory learners, there's tactile learners, abstract learners. So depending on what type of learner you are, you need to get in here and investigate these different resources and kind of pick and choose the ones that will help you. You don't have to use all these things. They're just there, and they're here to help different kinds of learners really learn the biology. So the last thing I want to kind of just show you that you should be aware of are my exam prep resources. Okay, and there are 3 items in here. With each chapter, there are some pre-tests that you can take, and these are little tests that will test to see what your understanding is of the concepts of a particular chapter before you really get into it. Okay, and they also kind of give you a clue what the concepts are going to be about in that chapter. And then I've got some practice tests specific to every chapter in the book, and you can check those out. Okay, but the one that really gets hit here, and it's a one that gets hit right, the week or 10 days out before the test, is a tool that I got in here called Cumulative Test. I've always asked students, wouldn't it be awesome if you could simulate taking in a real exam, like the ones we're going to be taking here this semester? You can, and it's called Cumulative Test. When you click on this tool, it'll bring you to the Cumulative Test app, and this is specific for the Campbell Biology 11th edition textbook. And so for example, exam 1 is going to be 50 questions. So let's try to make this as close to a simulated test. So we'll pick 40 questions, and the first exam is going to cover the first 5 chapters of the book. So I'm going to select those chapters, and then you can't see this button here, but it's there's a button down at the bottom that says Create Quiz or Create Test. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's going to create a test on the fly. So it's going to make a 40-question test, and it's randomly going to go into test banks for the first 5 chapters and pull out questions. And with each question, you'll have a hint, so you can show hints if you need that hint. Okay, and then when you answer the question, it's going to tell you, it's going to give you that feedback. Okay, and you can keep doing that process of elimination, and then finally you're going to get that correct answer. And as you work through these questions, and if you're taking a lot of these questions and you're asking for hints and you're getting them answered incorrectly, that's giving you some feedback. And what that's telling you is that you probably need to spend more time on this content to get a better understanding of it. But if you're going through these cumulative tests and you're able to answer the questions without taking hints, and you're getting them answered correctly, and you're having that kind of high success on these cumulative tests, that's giving you feedback that you're on top of this stuff, and you're getting it's working. The studying that you've been doing has been working, and so you can go through all the way to 40 questions and then get some feedback. How are you doing on this stuff? And again, if you're not getting a lot of them answered correctly, then you need to be spending more time on this content. And the cool thing about this is there's a button down at the bottom that says Start Over, and you can basically, after you've taken one practice test, you can go back, take another test, and generate a new test, and it's going to be a completely new test. These test banks are very deep, and so you can take multiple practice exams, and I track where students spend their time. Cumulative Test is a great tool. Okay, you can just do it by single chapters and create a test. Is up, between 5 and 40 questions. Just and one of the things that, when you want success on exams is, how do you become a better test taker? Well, by taking more and more tests. And so by taking lots of tests, that will help you to be a better test taker as well, especially where these questions that you're going to see in this cumulative test will be the kinds of questions you're going to see on the lecture exams this semester. So that's cumulative test. It's in the exam resources part of D2L. Let me get back to the exam prep resources. That's where you're going to find it. Okay, and so all these things again are in the materials content area of D2L. So as far as kind of highlighting the major things that you're going to find here, I've done a good coverage of what you're going to find in D2L. Your job now is to get in here and mess around and do a little bit more exploring on your own to see exactly what's here. Again, we will be using the assessments area, and here at the beginning of the semester, you've got 2 assessments that you need to get done this first week. One is completing the academic integrity statement form. Okay, that needs to be done by 10 o'clock on Monday the 3rd. And then the intro to biology quiz. And that quiz is going to be on the nuts and bolts of the class, the things that I covered in my syllabus screencast and the syllabus and what's posted in the announcements area of D2L. So I know you've got a fairly good understanding of how the class is going to work. And you can use your syllabus when you're taking that, and you can take it multiple times to try to get an improved score. The best is to try to get the maximum number of points. So those 2 assessments are things that need to be done this first week. Okay, so that's a quick tour of our D2L webpage for Biology 1. Get in there and explore and investigate, and it's a course management system, and this is where we're going to be managing our course from. I expect that you're checking in here every day, on weekends as well, and I will be posting information throughout the week, but again, my weekly postings will always be on Sunday evenings at the latest. So I wish you good luck this semester, and we'll see you on another screencast. Thank you.